Hello Jeepsters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Sorry if we're a bit lopsided. There's a lot of stuff on the bench, and the little tripod is it's just, well, it's all over the shop. Yeah, welcome to another update on my. He's here. Keep looking. I should look at the camera again. I've just had Xanadu. You know, the Japanese girl group from the early 2000s. Was it the 90s? My Samurai. Playing that, just about to speak, thinking, you need to turn that off. Right, anyway, where were we? My Samurai, never mind. We've got some progress on the bust. You'll probably seen it by the thumbnail picture, however small it will end up being. I've painted all of the, let's take these off, I can't even see. No sleep again last night, can't see out my eyes. Phil Silvers, it's not looking good. I've painted all of the CBA stroke flat vest. Apart from the only thing I've got to do is what I suppose you could call it weathering, which is just put a few. I've put lots of staining on, as in just general staining on the vest itself. Just a quick aside to that. When you look at a lot of colour pictures, the Vietnam War, and I went for Marine Corps. I wasn't 100% sure. The Marine Corps often have things slightly different from the Army, uniform wise, and I wasn't 100% sure if the flak jackets would have been exactly the same. Yes, I'm using the word flak jacket. I think it's more period. But when you look at them, so I say I've gone for this. I always call it an oatmeal type colour. Or khaki, whatever you want to call it. As I say, they had greens, they had khakis, they had almost like a blend in between. And you got some that, whether they were freshly issued, I don't know, but they were. But I went for the ones that I liked, which is obviously being a painter, you want to make it look a bit more. You want the bust to have a bit more going for it than just a completely shiny new bit of kit, if that makes sense. So I've put a lot of heavy staining on it, just wear and tear, because when these guys weren't in the field, I'll tell you this for now, if you're in a teeth arm, like the infantry, or in this case Marine infantry, if that's what they call them, or just Marines, I'm not sure, but you are the labourers of the army. It goes back centuries. We're talking to the 1600s. You know, if you wanted field fortifications digging, you just grab the infantry. So the infantry would do their normal day's fighting or sentry duty, and then, like in the Crimea, like with the British, they'd be digging trenches day after day. So what I'm trying to say is, in the more modern era, you can be unloading drums or jerry cans full of diesel for generators and vehicles and stuff, say in Khe-Sanh. Well, there's always going to be loose fuel spilling around, so your CBA is going to get, covered, because you're going to be, a lot of the time you're going to be wearing that CBA, especially in somewhere like Khe-Sanh. You're also just mauling stuff around, as we'd say in the UK. Just move. Again, you're just being used as heavy lifters. You're the armies, or even the governments. Our government uses the army for just about everything. You become just as I say, the labourers for whatever task is needed, and this CBA doesn't stay that clean very long. And then of course you've got the humidity, and if you're in the jungle areas or swamp areas, rice paddies, they get filthy fairly quickly. So all I've got to do left on it now, which I might try and get some done tonight, is just put some of that earth tone staining on. I've tried to go. Not all Vietnam was that red earth, that orange, dark orangey red earth. That it wasn't over everywhere. But I've put it on here just because I was looking at, you look at the photographs of Khe-Sanh, and it is that type of stuff. So that's why I've gone for a more, more stained look on the pouches and things like that. So I've got to replicate that to a degree, without going over the top on the flak jacket itself. I've also done the bandoleer for the M79 grenade launcher. They're not 100% finished yet. I've only been painting that the last couple of nights, and it just needs some more shading and some more highlights in places yet, but it's getting there. Yeah, we'll go down to the bench. I'm talking about it, you're looking at me, not the thing. Oh, they're not the bust, are we? So let's go down to the bench, guys, and take a look. Right, guys, here's our Marine. I'll get him up close in a minute, if I can actually get my chair under the desk. Right, as you can see, I've gone for a more grimy look. Can we actually, let's get some more light on the subject. I've gone for a more grimy look. Getting in a bit more. See, we've gone for textures again on both the bandolier and the actual the flat jacket CBA itself. I have put, you can't see it very well, I have put some stitching into the bandolier pouches themselves. This seemed to be quite thin material, so it's probably maybe even thinner than it's been depicted here, I don't know. But there wasn't a huge amount of stitching on show, but I put some stitching in the very edges just to show it's there. We've gone for, I didn't want to make it the same as the pouches and the belt. Again, not only were all these, the thing is with pouches, I mean, when you get them, I can only say from the British Army, but I wouldn't surprise the Marine Corps or the United States Army, whether it's at that time or now is any different. These you don't pull a set of webbing out of the stores, or we never used to. You literally get it broken down. It's a classic thing you sign for. Pouches 2, water bottle, you might call it canteen, we just call it water bottle, but water bottle 1, water bottle cover 1, you know, it's literally said like that. And once they've ticked it all off, you then look at it, look at your kit, make sure it's not damaged, because you will be charged for it when you hand it back in, even if that's 5 years later. You then go away and make up your webbing yourself. So I'm just saying, so they all come from different manufacturers, different. Don't forget, some of this stuff can be held for like 20-30 years and then reissued. So you will have different colour pouches individually to each other. The bandoliers, I've seen these bandoliers are more green like this. I've seen them more of this. I would almost call it like a military green, or a yellowy green, softer green. I've seen them in the same colour as the flat jacket here. The only thing is, I obviously didn't want to do it the same colour as a flat jacket because it would just be merged in with everything. Now, this lanyard here isn't a lanyard from what I've seen. It's more. I could be wrong, but I've looked at the flat jackets, and I couldn't see this replicated as such a, almost like a lanyard. It was more of a material that was in sections, if you understand me, but it was stitched. I might be wrong. I'm no expert on flat jackets stroke CBAs, so I might be wrong on that, but that almost looked like a lanyard, or looks like a lanyard on that. What I saw was that they were the same, this material that had been sewn up, crimped is the word I was after. It was the same colour as whatever CBA colour it was, so green, or in this case, like I say, like a khaki. As you can see, like here still, I want to do just obviously do some more shadow areas and things, especially as this side's going to be more shadow. I've gone for lighter, let's get out a bit. I've gone for lighter at the top area here, more heavy staining, you know, around the plate areas. Let's go in again. Now, I don't know what's showing up and what isn't. It's a lot darker on this. Hopefully the photographs will show it at the end. I will put some photographs up. But yeah, I've put the usual, just different stippling of different colours in, and then put some glazing. I've purposely gone over, normally you wouldn't want such a hard edge stain as that, but what I'd noticed on the CBA was it was because it's obviously where moisture and grime and dirt have gone so far, dried out and stayed there, if that makes sense. So instead of smoothing that out and glazing that hard edge out, I've left it on purpose. And the same obviously with here, and tried to show some egress of that's a fancy word, for more moisture and grime getting up there a bit. We've done some of this. Well, it's not a belt area, is it? But it's the bit that obviously tightens up the CBA. That's still being worked on. I did some last night, but it's still got a bit to go yet. Oops, as we knock down the backdrop. So yeah, there we go. So this is still being worked on at the moment. Still needs a bit of work done to it. The reinforcing belt, whatever you want to call it, the brown bit at the bottom, that's still being worked on a bit more. I haven't gone for taking the paint off the studs on these ones, mainly because a lot of these were almost disposable. You know, they literally, you know, you get them and they'd be dropped once they're empty. Not always, obviously, some, you know, but I'm just trying to show that as of a more fairly new issue. I've not gone for any writing on this. I did think about it. I've got a nice, I was going to put official tour guide on the back, literally. I hadn't seen it, I just, it's come into my head. I didn't, because I didn't, whenever you see this, everybody automatically goes for writing all over them. And when I actually looked at the CBAs and that, some did have some writing on, obviously some had whole messages written on the back. Others, you know, anything from later on in the war could have a peace sign to whatever, you know. But I will put a bit of graffiti on the helmet cover, but I just didn't want it to be too formulaic, if that makes sense. Like, oh, you know, it's Vietnam, so everything has to be scrawled all over. Well, you know, all the photographs I've seen, it didn't seem to support that. I did wonder if they might have had the blood group or something. You know, we'd often write it on our helmet bands or whatever, but there wasn't. If I'd have had more space, I'd have put the blood group on one of these pockets here, but you can't see them, so that'd be a waste of time. Right, that's it. So coming up for this guy next, I think we shall go for the blooper itself. We'll get that one done, then the t-shirt, and then we'll go for the helmet cover, and then we'll get on the skin. Now, Jason from Model Kit Stuff, thank you for mentioning it, Jason. I say it through clenched teeth. He said, what am I going to do with the watch face? I do wish it didn't have a watch on, because trying to replicate in this scale without it just looking rubbish is going to be a tall order. I'm just going to do a bit of research with different painters that I know and stuff, as in see their work and see how, if they've replicated a watch face, and if they have, they might not have said how they've done it, but sometimes you can deconstruct what they've done. I'll give it a few goes. If it is going to turn out as bad as I think it will, I will give this a leather cover. It'll just be painted leather. A lot of the time, still do to this day, you can buy, or sometimes the army will often issue them to you, but you can buy them. You know, you put your watch strap through the leather, or you just put the bezel even, is it called, of the watch, and it has a leather cover that goes over. One, stop the watch obviously getting damaged, and two, obviously reflections, or if it's a luminous one, you know, giving your position away. So that's the good cheat. If all else fails, and it probably will do, I'll make this a leather cover, but we will go and see if we can, just for the sake of it, try and make a watch face out of it. As I say, the last thing you want to do, if you think you're doing a decent job on everything else, you don't want, you know, because people's eye is going to be drawn to it, you know, straight away. And if it looks really rough, it's going to look really rough. So yeah, we'll be going for the blooper. I think once this lasts, I've probably about another. I'm only doing about an hour and a half a night, so it's taken me probably a week of those sessions, like you know 11 o'clock, a bit later. You know, doing the flat jacket. So you know, and it still has to have a bit of earth stain on it yet, which will be another session. So once the bandolier is done, I should say, I didn't want to do any earth staining until I got the bandolier done, so I could get an idea in my head where I wanted to go with that staining. So once that's done, that'll be another session staining those, because it takes a bit of time. And then, as I say, we'll get onto the blooper. I won't show you anything else again on this until the blooper's painted and the earth stains are on there, just so you're not, you know, just constantly looking at the same thing. Right, that's it. I put pieces of the bike together yesterday. Charlie Mack was right about doing the decals around the rims. It took me 40 minutes to do one decal. So it went back in the drawer. I've got the patience to spend another 40 minutes on the next. You have to do 4 of these decals that go around the bike rims, and that's on either side and on 2 wheels, so it's going to take some time. But I will have a bike update tomorrow, so we'll have a look at that. Look after yourselves, guys, and we'll speak soon.